I am convinced, now more than ever, that North America is on a glide path back to an era that was described very well in the series Black Sails. The West Indies in the 17th century, also referred to as the Golden Age of piracy, where the ideas of socialism didn't exist at all. The worship of money at all cost. I've used this image before to ask my audience if they were ready for what was coming. Because what's coming is a world that many could not have foreseen. It's always puzzled me in the Bible why they referred to Babylon the Great as the harlot. In ancient Babylon, there were a great many things going on that were far more evil than harlotry. In fact, some have even argued that what goes on between two consenting adults is really their business. I don't know how you could call it evil. I mean, there was slavery, and there was corruption, and there was taxes, and there was all sorts of things going on in that great city that were just absolutely vile. Harlotry was the least among them. So why would they call Babylon the Great the harlot? Well, I think some recent events will give us an insight into this. Now, many have said, well, it's because of their idea of multiculturalism and being involved with anyone and everyone. It seems a bit too vague. There's been a push in the undercurrents of politics in this country for quite a while about prostitution being made legal for the very reasons I just outlined. People have said, hey, my body, my choice. Whether it comes to the 2020 sniffles vax, or whether it comes to the monkeypox thing, or whether it comes to abortion, my body, my choice. Keep your laws out of my business. Well, lo and behold, India, one of the largest countries in the world, just decriminalized sex work. The countries and why is the key. This is the key you have to pay attention to. Why did they do it? The country's Supreme Court has deemed prostitution a legal profession. Indian sex workers are entitled to equal protection under the law. Ring a bell? A 3-judge Supreme Court panel led by Justice L. Nageswara Rao announced on Thursday, adding that criminal law must apply equally in all cases on the basis of age and consent, so long as sex workers are consenting adults. The judges ruled police may not interfere or take criminal action against them. Voluntary sex work is not illegal, and while running a brothel remains a crime, those plying their trade within one are not to be arrested or otherwise victimized during raids on such facilities. Quote, notwithstanding the profession, every individual in this country has the right to a dignified life under Article 21 of the Constitution. Believe it or not, Venezuela has a part of their constitution that reads almost identically to this. The right to a dignified life. I believe in Venezuela's dignified work and life, but the judges wrote, mothers who work in the sex trade should not be deprived of custody of their children, nor should children found living in a brothel or with a sex worker be assumed to be trafficked. Additionally, police must not discriminate against sex workers who are victims of assault. The judges specifically commented on the police's brutal and violent attitude towards sex workers, lamenting it is as if they are a class whose rights are not recognized. Justice Rao insisted that authorities refrain from forcing sex workers into shelters or correctional facilities against their will. Now, that was common in 18th century Europe. They used to have what they called harlot wards, and they were like mental institutions, but just for that particular person. But this will be a tough trap to get out of, the whole my body, my choice thing, for a lot of conservatives who have said, government can't force me to do this, can't force me to do that. If it's my body, it's my choice. This will open that door here, especially with this idea of equal protection under the law, right to a dignified life. See, here at the Patreon channel, the Florida Maquis Patreon channel, last two videos we have been talking about how shit it's the fan is going to affect women very, very differently than it's going to affect men. How you approach massive food shortages or the loss of the power grid or collapse of society. It's going to be two entirely different things. And we just earlier today, put up part 2 of this. And I know this looks like a strange picture, Jurassic Park, but this is part of it. There's a social, psychological paradigm that has come to be in the last 10, maybe 15 years that didn't used to be. And it's affected things in a way that are going to change it radically. I don't want to give away too much of the video. It's only $1. It's only $1 US to join the Florida Maquis Patreon channel. Not per video, not per week, per month. And the best part, you can stick around for 3 months. And if it's not for you, fully refundable. $3 for 3 months. Even less if you sign up for an entire year. You see, we can partner with Vimeo and take the gloves off. Talk about things that are, well, meant for adults. And speculate and throw ideas out there. In this video that we just got done doing, I added in 4 or 5 suggestions that not a lot of women would have thought of that could help them run little psychological operations in their life to help affect good survival. Now, what's happening? Why are they legalizing things like this in India? The food catastrophe. If they don't do this, there's going to be millions and millions and millions, tens of millions of starving people in India. They have to open up any possible avenue of economic activity that takes money from the high end of society and drives it into the low end of society. And legalizing prostitution is the best way to do that. Plus, it takes all that heat off of the cops. That's just one more crime they ain't got to worry about. So they save money that way too. Don't think this isn't coming. Ditching gas to save planet risks mass starvation. This is kind of this weird thing with environmentalism is a form of socialism. The idea that we should do things to make society better as a whole, even though it may make life bad on some. Well, this idea of ditching gas is causing problems now. Ukraine says May grain exports down more than 60% compared to 2021. This is only a month or two away, guys. This is only a month or two away. We're talking August, September. And of course, the big answer, you see, Ukraine is blockaded because of the issue with Russia. The West must break Russia's blockade or the world will starve. There's only one way you're breaking that blockade. And when this happens, U.S. fast attack submarines show up over there, Katie, bar the door. That's when things are really going to go sideways. And it used to be just us, quote unquote, conspiracy theorists talking about the coming apocalypse. The alarming effects of the global food crisis. Here we are, 2022. This has been warned of for a long time, that these chains, this globalization was always destined to fail. Now, what does that have to do with my audience or anyone listening? There has been a certain luxury that's been afforded people in how they choose relationships. They've looked more to Romeo and Juliet than they have to the kings and queens of the 16th and 17th century for guidance, because it's always been about them. Well, when it comes to security and it comes to the idea of being safe going forward and providing for your little ones or for your future, men and women are going to have to start making decisions differently or just suffer the consequences. And right now, I'm just going to put it out there. Men that you could truly describe as alphas or even sigmas might make up 10 to 15% of society right now. And men under 30, almost non-existent. These days, men under 30 that you could describe as true alphas or sigmas, they just aren't out there. Most of the alphas, 40, 50, 60 years old. Because it was still accepted back then that men could fulfill that role in society. Make no mistake, when I saw this, I knew this was starting to come, this Babylon the harlot thing. This is Nikki Fried, the elected commissioner of agriculture in Florida, attempting to raise money to run against Ron DeSantis, fool's errand. But terrifyingly enough, in one day, in just a tank top and a little American flag bikini thing, she raised $13,000 for one picture. For one picture. And don't think this doesn't happen both sides of the aisle, guys. This and Lauren Boebert, if you don't think how they look mattered in them getting elected, I mean, they can be as MAGA as they want. This mattered. And I've also asked people, watch these series. If you want an insight, you can put aside the main storyline and you can look down into the threads of the relationships. You'll see this. The Walking Dead, Colony, Black Sails, Defiance. There's this thread of this. You can see when the click, so to speak, happens and the decision-making process changes, especially in Defiance. We haven't covered Defiance very much because it's pretty seedy. I mean, literally, the entire series takes place in a brothel. Much like Black Sails, this is just the future, this is the past. But it's strange to see the parallels between what they say the future would be and what we know existed in the West Indies in the 1700s. So, it's a collage of pictures from the 4 series. But guys, it's already started. One of the biggest countries in the world. One of the biggest countries in the world just legalized prostitution. Billions of people. I think it's 1.3, 1.4 billion in India. And they just, and the words they're using, the court's wording, reminds me of things we see in our own Constitution. People are going to pick up on this. And they're going to say, look, everyone is entitled to a dignified life. Everyone is entitled to their body, their choice. And that's going to represent, strangely enough, a giant defeat of socialism. And somebody can like, oh, that's a great idea. Wait, hold on. How does legalizing prostitution defeat socialism? Because getting rid of prostitution was a social desire of Christians for a long time in this country. It's why it was the same desire when they wanted to get rid of alcohol. They had to pass the 18th Amendment to get rid of it, and then 21st Amendment to repeal that. See somebody else getting drunk, that doesn't have any skin off your nose, does it? Of course not. So why would society get together and ban alcohol? The 21st Amendment, repealing it, was a huge defeat of Christian socialism. And when they do repeal the bans in this country on prostitution, it's going to open up a whole new world of economic activity that's going to drive money from the top down to the bottom, so to speak. So I'll leave it there, but have a wonderful Memorial Day. Be safe. Be blessed. Join us over at Patreon. Like I said, only one lowest allowable possible level $1 per month at Patreon. There are many, many people over there, and trust me, down in the comments, you will see people attesting to this, that the content over there is top-notch. It's the very best I can put out. I've been up since about 5:30 this morning working and Finally got the entire video done about 2 hours ago. So love to have you over there. So God bless. Like, share, subscribe, and we'll see you guys next time.